You're listening to Real Talk Texas with local expert Steve Hakes. Now, here's Steve.
Welcome back. You're listening to Real Talk Texas. I'm your host, Steve Hakes, and we've had a great conversation today about short sales. And if you're just tuning in, we've got Alicia Trevino of Century 21 here in downtown Dallas in the Uptown area, and she and her team are experts in short sales, and that's been our topic of today. The segment's been called Truths and Myths About Short Sales, and so she's been a great guest, and she's also honoring us by coming back next week to talk about foreclosed properties, and we'll have that show next week, so make sure that you tune in at noon on Sunday on KLIF AM 570 News and Information and the Real Talk Texas show. So Alicia, we're back, and we'd like to talk a little bit about where do people start in this process? What's coming up in 2013 that may cause someone in the fourth quarter to make a move because there's going to be a change in 2013 as far as short sales go?
Well, a lot of people don't know that in 2007, Mortgage Debt Relief Act was passed. And what that means is when you are in a short sale situation and you sell your home and there's a deficit. So let's say you owe $150 and you can only sell it for $100. Okay, so the deficit, for simple terms, is $50,000. You would be taxed on $50,000, that being a gain to you. So you would pay taxes on it. And let's say, if you're in a higher income bracket, let's say it's $25,000, so that's a whole lot of money that you now have to show that you have to pay in taxes. Well, you're already in trouble.
so by the $50,000 debt being relieved, the IRS would look at that as income because someone else paid it for me. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly. It's considered income. Right now, we are able to negotiate that you don't have to pay taxes on that money. And so that's what the Mortgage Debt Relief Act in 2007 was all about. That is slated to go away at the end of this year. We're working very, very hard from the realtor perspective. Your National Association of Realtors are working hard at it. All your associations are trying to avoid that from happening and getting it extended. If you are in a situation where you are upside down on your home, jump on it, because we cannot protect you from this. We are hoping that it gets extended, and you know how that goes. It's
exactly.
Election year. We'll see. But this is supposed to end at the end of the year. So, big hot item. But if you are a seller, get your home on the market right now. Bear in mind, we're just talking about that. There's not enough houses on the market. So it's the perfect storm to get your home sold. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Do not hesitate. It is urgent for you to get this home sold during this time, so you're secured to be able to fall under this time limit for this Mortgage Relief Act.
That's great advice. And so if you're listening out there and you're in that situation where you're contemplating, do we sell the house? Do we stay? What are we doing? Can we get the other job or increase my income so I can stay there? Most people really don't want to be in this situation. It's uncomfortable. It's hard to talk about. And one of the things I've found in my life is that if there's a situation that I really need advice on, it's best for me to find the very best expert in the market and tell that story one time. It's one of the things as far as, we were talking about earlier, with somebody's had a bankruptcy or they've had bad credit or things like that. And as a mortgage professional, I counsel people a lot on, okay, what happened? And a lot of people sit down and it's devastating to go through a bankruptcy or to go through a situation where you can't afford your bills. It's humiliating. It's a terrible time, and bad things happen to good people is what I always tell them. And so one of the things I've found is that if I can find a trusted resource, if I can find someone that will get it the first time so I don't have to tell my story twice.
Right.
I think that's the key, and I think your firm is perfect for that as far as
that's right.
People reaching out.
We all fear being judged, and it's true. Bad things do happen to good people. When we all go through struggles, then we wouldn't know what a good time was, right? If we didn't.
God tests you that way.
Right? That's correct. I believe that truly. But I have heard it all. You won't be able to shock me, and it's okay because, we really are caring people, and I think it's important that people realize that we're not going to judge about what's happened. We all go through struggles, and what we're trying to do is help you get to the other side. And we're really there to help you out and to move you forward, and not doing anything is probably the worst thing you can do. So reach out to us and talk to us and tell us your situation, and we'll be able to tell you or give you some direction to go as to who can help you. And if you're trying to keep your house, we can also give you the direction of which way to keep your home too. We can help you with that as well. So it's not just about, hey, we're out there to sell your home. We're out there to help you and to move you forward, and hopefully you'll remember us in the future.
And you're listening to Alicia Trevino, Century 21, and it sounds like you're offering a very safe place for people to come and really talk about their problems and get that expert advice from you and your firm. One of the things you kind of alluded to was that they need to reach out now. And especially in the fourth quarter of this year, before this potentially goes away and that deficit could become taxable. And what will happen is, even though you kind of get out of your problem, you may have a taxable a tax debt that you're going to have to make payments on, because we've got, you have to negotiate with the IRS, I guess. And if you've got a $50,000 deficit that you're having to claim as income, say you're at 20%, that's $10,000. If you're at 20% tax bracket, I mean,
right.
that's a lot of money. And so, I think the key is to reach out early and reach out now if you're listening out there and you're in a need for that situation. One of the things you told me earlier when we were talking about this show was people that wait too long. And what happens to those people if they waited too long before, maybe they've been 120 days late on their mortgage, and now they're calling your office.
It's funny because it really does depend on the underlying investor. For those of you who have mortgages out there and you're working with Bank of America and Chase and all these other big name companies, okay, using those two as an example because they're well known, Wells Fargo. Just because you're working with that bank or that's who you get your statement from, that's not the investor underneath it. So let's say you talk to a neighbor who was with Bank of America and they said, oh my gosh, they foreclosed on me in 3 months. There may have been another person who had a Bank of America loan, but they didn't foreclose on them for 14 months. So it's a very complicated situation. Everyone is individualized. There's no one that's exactly the same. So never think that you can't do it because someone else didn't. Okay, every situation is different. I have saved people from foreclosure when they've actually been on the foreclosure list for the next Tuesday to be foreclosed on. We've actually been able to stop it. And because we're such experts and we have such connections with the big banks, and I pride myself on actually getting to know the people that get the deals done, that actually approve these things. I've been all over. I've gone to Washington. I've gone and met with every top person at these banks because I am very passionate about this. I used to do only retail sales. When the market turned, I'm a very competitive realtor and I wanted to keep my status as a top realtor, so I knew where I had to go. And then when I got there and started doing short sales, it became more of a passion than just work. You had something to fulfill yourself with, so it became kind of a life's work all of a sudden. And we're seeing things turn around, and because I got so involved with it, I do know the right people to get you answers and to get you answers quick. I pride myself on it, and I hope that someone takes advantage of that. I'd love to help them. Really would.
Well, and from a lender standpoint, we do loans at Affiliated Bank Mortgage, and we will underwrite that loan. We will close the loan. We will fund the loan, and we may service the loan, or we may sell off the rights for servicing. And that's what you're talking about, is that the underlying, when you're making your payment to a Bank of America or Wells or a Chase, which are the top three,
right.
And what they really are is loan servicers. So they have this huge department and lots of people, and what they do is they collect and make sure that you're paying your bills on time. They report to the credit bureaus, and that's what we're talking about. But underneath that, it could be that loan is sponsored or guaranteed by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or FHA or VA or USDA. There's lots of different agencies that back the money for mortgages. That's where the money cycle comes into play, is where does the money come from? And back, not too long ago, we were doing Wall Street money as well.
Right.
And some of these loans that are being serviced by Bank of America, Chase and Wells and people like that. If you called up and you tried to modify your mortgage, maybe you're in that situation, you say, I can't afford this payment, but I think I can afford that payment. You've submitted all the paperwork and all those things. You called the bank, and I've had customers say, I can't modify because it's not a Fannie Mae loan. They can't tell me what kind of loan it is, but really what it is what we call the RMBS, or the Residential Backed Mortgage Security, and that was a Wall Street loan, and it was either subprime or what we called Alt-A, which was a near miss type of thing. And Affiliated Bank Mortgage, one of the things we do, and you probably hear the ads on the show here, is we do something called a Make Sense mortgage. I've had several situations where we've done a Make Sense mortgage that was for people that had a short sale. And one of the things you need to know is if you go through a short sale and you've had this time to get a new mortgage on an FHA loan, you have to wait 3 years from the time that they report that short sale on your credit. And on a Fannie Mae, it's 7 years now. They treat it like a foreclosure or a deed in lieu. So for us, we look at that, and if it was a one-time event, and at Affiliated Bank, I could tell you a lot of stories, and we'll probably get into some of those next week because we're running out of time. But we help homeowners get back on their feet. And our bank is a community bank, and we're investing into the community and the real estate market to help get it back and stabilized here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
And that's hard to find. A bank that's today willing to make sense loan. That really is hard to find.
Well, if you've been listening today and you have a situation that's caused you to get behind and you need some advice about selling your home, or if you're looking to buy a home, then contact our show, realtalktexas.com, and we'll put you in touch with a real expert. And we're very pleased to have that real expert in our studio today, Alicia Trevino of Century 21 in Uptown. She's one of our real estate experts, providing you with expert advice that will help you make sound decisions, no matter which side of the table you're on. Don't forget, next Sunday at noon, Alicia Trevino joins us again to discuss REO, HUD foreclosed, or bank-owned distressed inventory in North Texas, and find out the truth about the homes that are for sale here and her secrets on how to buy those homes. So as always, for the best financing in the Metroplex with the lowest fees, contact your host, that's me, Steve Hakes, at 214-643-6021, or visit us online at realtalktexas.com. Alicia, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll look forward to hearing from you again next week.
Thanks for having me. We got great stuff to talk about.
Okay, great. Have a great Sunday.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
This is 570 KLIF News and Information.